Okay, we're live.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. I am here in my kitchen waiting for you. Where have you been for the last week? I have missed you. It is time again for AZ Cooks Instagram Live edition. We have a couple very, very special things that are going to happen today. Most importantly, hopefully in a half an hour, we will have our special guest here who will be taste testing my remoulade sauce. Someone whose opinion I value and trust, and who I think is going to be a familiar face to many of you. Second thing, we also, around the office today, we're kind of bored. We're all going a little stir crazy, maybe just a little crazy. The world seems in some moments to be falling apart, and we have to have faith that we can all hold it together. And part of what holds it together is laughter. And it was suggested to me that, say that we've dabbled it around the office here, is that we play that game, Two Truths and a Lie, where I mention three things to you, and then you have all week to think about it. And you can show up next week and tell me which one that you think is the untruth. But in typical obnoxious New Yorker fashion, because one of the descriptions that I hold dearest to my heart is that I am a difficult New Yorker, is I had to make it my own. So I'm doing three truths and a lie. And here's the reason. I think when it's three things, it's too easy to figure out what the lie is. So I threw a bunch of things together. Are you ready? Because I'm going to tell you what they are right now, and then we're going to get together. We're going to make our crab remoulade. The first one, as a young man, I was a member of the Light Opera of Manhattan, Loom, a Gilbert and Sullivan repertory company, and I was something of a child theater star in Manhattan in the 60s. I'm a ferocious card player, and I do play blackjack tournaments around the country as often as I can. I don't win a lot, but I play a lot. I collect 19th century historical maps and prints, and I've amassed quite a nice little collection. I collect guitars. In fact, I own a Paul McCartney guitar, and my most recent purchase was something from the estate of Walter Becker, Steely Dan's famous guitar player, and I own an old Gibson of his. So there you have it. Light Opera of Manhattan, Gilbert and Sullivan repertory child star, blackjack tournament player, 19th century historical map and print collector, guitar collector, with a pretty nice little set of axes in the basement of my house. So there you have it. Let me know which one you think is the lie. Vicky, should we have people chime in on the lie by the end of the session today? I feel like the people here are not going to be able to hold back.
No, let's just let them comment on your Instagram.
Oh,
post
fantastic.
one.
You can go right ahead and comment, and we'll see, and we'll reveal the truth later on. Okay, it's summertime, and the living is easy, right? Except that I've been obsessed recently with cold foods. I cooked my birthday dinner a couple weeks ago. I made 6 or 7 dishes. Only one was a grilled item, grilled chops. Everything else was cold. And I've just been obsessed about cold food because it's that time of year where it's like, I just want cold food. I really just want popsicles is what I want. And I was thinking about what I wanted to cook today. One of my favorite things, and I make this a lot, I do it with seafood, I do it with leftover poached chicken, because I actually do poached chicken a lot, which I like. And that is, I make a traditional Creole remoulade, and I use it on seafood. Cooked and chilled oysters, cooked and chilled shrimp, cooked and chilled lobster, grilled fish that's left over, crumbled on the same bed of lettuce that we're going to set up today. But I wanted to do crab remoulade, and the reason is pasteurized crab meat can last for months in your fridge. I always have a couple of cans of lump or jumbo lump in there because I love to make crab cakes. My crab cake recipe on foodandwine.com is the most popular recipe in the magazine's digital history, I'm proud to say. It was wildly popular in the print edition many years ago, and it has sustained a life of itself. That recipe is on our website at andrewzimmern.com. This recipe is on our website at andrewzimmern.com. I'm extremely proud of them. When I was a young kid, I went down with my dad to New Orleans for the first time, and I went to a restaurant called Yougalicious that is no longer with us. Yougalicious did not make it out of Katrina. And I was thinking about that today because there's so many restaurants in America that are closing every single day, not able to weather the storm that is COVID-19. There's so many restrictions on opening. Restaurants are curators, and our responsibility is to the public for their health, right? We're licensed facilities, and there's so many places that just simply can't continue to exist on 25% of their dining room being open. And it just is heartbreaking to me, much as it was heartbreaking when Yougalicious closed. Yougalicious Remoulade was served on shrimp, cold shrimp, that was put atop of fried green tomatoes, and it was one of the most delicious. Their étouffée was also fantastic too. I make a version of their étouffée that I think we've done before here on the old AZ Cooks. Maybe we'll bring it back again. But anyway, first thing that I want to do is talk to you for a second about what remoulade is. It's a sauce that comes from the mayonnaise family tree, right? So it's emulsified with egg and oil. And the traditional French remoulade has pickle in it and a little bit of lemon, sometimes curry in it as well. By the time it crossed, and you have to remember the French, right, owned Louisiana. Remember Louisiana Purchase? So the French were in Louisiana for a long, long time. So there's a lot of French food that has influenced that the cuisine in that incredible city. Creole flavors, most notably chilies and tomatoes, came up from the South, from South America, from the islands, with the Spanish, right? So many different cuisines collided in New Orleans. New Orleans, to my mind, is one of the world's greatest food cities, not only because of the quality of its food, because of this one thing. When I say the word New Orleans to you, or Nolans, I don't want to get letters. When I say New Orleans, if you've been there, you can taste it, right? If you've been there, you can taste it just when I say the name. So, what makes it Creole is that horseradishy Creole mustard, the presence of the chili sauce or tomato sauce, the different spicy elements, the paprika, the cayenne, the hot sauce, the Worcestershire, the horseradish. All of those are kind of staples of that incredible Creole style of cooking, and it's the difference maker for Creole remoulade. This will keep for a couple days in your refrigerator. I've got 2 whole eggs plus 2 egg yolks in there. Heinz chili sauce. Sometimes I do this with, oh, whoopsie. Sometimes I do this if I don't have chili sauce. I put ketchup in it, or a mixture of ketchup and tomato paste, or another teaspoon of vinegar and a good thick Italian tomato puree. But I would encourage you to put, this is not a brand thing, there's no sponsorship, but Heinz chili sauce is one of the world's great condiments, and you don't have it in your fridge, you're really missing out. I prefer it with many things to ketchup. The great thing about this recipe is how forgiving it is. You essentially blend everything together. I have the dropsies today. All right. Could be the 17 cups of coffee that I've had. Garlic, right? Smash your cloves. It's going into the food processor. Please remember that the food processor is not a food pureer. It is a processor. So what that means is that you have to let the processor have a little bit of help. So yes, I smash those to get the paper off them, but I'm going to cut my garlic before I put it into the food processor. Very, very important. Then we have our scallions. Same thing, just like the garlic. If I put these whole scallions in there, they just kick around in that machine. So I'm going to cut them. Now, this is much different than a blender, right? The reason I don't blend this in a blender is it doesn't emulsify it as well. And a blender, you don't have to worry about cutting a lot of things because the cyclonic action goes this way and the blades are juxtaposed, so the stuff goes up and falls down on top of them. A food processor, the blades are flat, just kicks around in there. Add my vinegar. Oops. Clean that. Celery. Celery has a very strong flavor. If you make a chicken stock with no celery, and right next to it you use the same recipe and you put in like 2 ribs of celery, you can taste the difference. I can taste celery in salmon when I put 1 rib in the poaching liquid. It's why celery is at the cornerstone. It's one of the most frequently used ingredients in Sichuan cuisine because it stands up to heat. It's such a strong flavor no matter what. You can always tell when the celery is in there. So, let's see, I'm gonna take the lid off, put some fresh black pepper in there. I'm gonna put more on top of the remoulade when it goes on to my crab. A little bit of salt, not a lot because the crab itself is very salty and there's a lot of salt in the Worcestershire and the mustard and other things that are in here. Oh, there it is. And put this down here. And then I'm going to take this and put that on low. And I want that to puree for a little bit so that all of those solids start to break up. I don't need it to become completely homogeneous, but I do want it to start to get those chunks taken care of. And I'm going to pour this oil in a slow stream. Now, unlike mayonnaise or hollandaise, a cold and hot emulsified sauce liaised with egg yolk, this process is insanely forgiving. The only way you can mess it up is by not pureeing your ingredients for 30 seconds first, or by pouring it in too fast a stream. It's kind of like kissing. Don't rush it. Now, when many people taste a remoulade for the first time in a restaurant in New Orleans, their first reaction is, how come it's not thick like mayonnaise? A real Creole style remoulade should be thick like that. It should be emulsified, but it's not going to have the consistency of mayonnaise. Once you refrigerate it, it's gonna get a little bit thicker, but it's gonna be the consistency of, what is that, hot pudding or something? I'm gonna put this in the fridge for a second. just to keep it cold. All right. Keep things neat and moving along here. Here I have my bowl that I'm going to serve this in. And now I'm going to build my remoulade. Now, you can use whatever you like, red romaine, butter lettuce. I happen to think traditional or red romaine works best here. And I really like preserving the larger leaves for one purpose and using the core and the most tender part of this for building the remoulade. And just julienne. When you get down to the hearts, if there's a piece that's slightly discolored, that's not dirt, that's just you know, it's like a dimple. But don't be afraid of the hearts of the lettuce. As a matter of fact, I was talking with J.P. Samuelson, our head of culinary at Passport Hospitality today, and he's actually got some lettuce that's overgrowing and wild, and right before it bolted, he actually clipped off some of this stuff. You can take the end off this and cut this up and actually cook lettuce and put it in braised dishes. It's phenomenal. Anyway, we get a nice mix of this, but I like the color. I like it to be light, right? We're just gonna build a little bed of this. Who has the best remoulade in New Orleans? Well, I can tell you anywhere Don Link is cooking, I'll go eat his remoulade. Arno's and Antoine's, I mean, so many famous restaurants have remoulade on their menu. Don Link took me a couple years ago to a place called R&O's. Just the letters, R&O's. And I thought their remoulade, shrimp remoulade, was absolutely out of control. One of my favorites. Oh, look at this, an industrial scooper. So I've got this lump crab meat. You can use lump or jumbo lump. And I'm just gonna put this in the center of my salad, because the crab is the star here, right? And you want, I don't know, 4 ounces for a first course, 5 or 6 ounces for a lunchtime main dish, something like that. I mean, you're in New Orleans, so you're gonna have to save room for dessert, right? But you could even set these up if you're having guests over. You could set this up ahead of time and put them in your fridge. But it's so simple if you have the remoulade done and your prep done to take care of this stuff ahead of time. I always want to put a lemon next to that because people love lemon. I also like black pepper with crab. And here's why. They taste delicious together. Salt brings out the flavor in many other foods. Pepper is its own flavor, right? And black pepper does not belong on every single dish. I always could tell when I was a cook. I could always tell going into other kitchens, because I trained in some really serious kitchens, where salt and pepper was separate. And I would go into restaurants where salt and pepper was mixed together and thrown on everything, and I was just like, that's not right. Pepper doesn't belong on everything. And salt doesn't belong on everything necessarily either. We're gonna put a little bit of scallion around there, and let me get the remoulade.
They're asking if you're using crab meat.
Excuse me?
what type of meat you're using.
This is crab meat.
Can you make this dish with?
You can make it with anything. Cold poached chicken. I prefer it with seafood. Cold poached shrimp, lobster, cold poached fish. Now my remoulade, it's not too aggressive. I mean, I think it's perfect. But it's strong, right? Remoulade is not the kind of sauce like that you just put spoons and spoons and spoons over. You just need, 2-3 ounces or so just to coat the crab and drip down into the lettuce. Mine is also spicy. And the person who taught me how to make this remoulade is a chef who's no longer with us. By the way, I'm putting more scallion on top of there and more pepper. And that is my crab remoulade. The person who taught me how to make this dish is sadly no longer with us. My friend Jamie Shannon was the longtime famous chef, born in Cape May, New Jersey, moved down to the South, worked for a long time in New Orleans, and was the chef at Commander's Palace for a while. I had a chance to cook with him at a food festival in Florida 25 years ago, before food festivals were what they were now. And Jamie taught me to make his remoulade, and then I started tweaking it and made it a little bit of my own. But this is, I can't make this without, number one, saluting the inspiration of the person who taught me this, but also honoring him by making this dish. It's very important that if someone taught you how to make something, or whose recipe you've based yours on, that you give them their respect and their due. So this is my crab remoulade with a big salute to my friend Jamie Shannon, who I think would love the fact that we're making this together today. So, questions, comments, criticisms, support, deny, refute. You want to talk about things that are in the news, go right ahead. Hey, Sunday night, things that are coming up. Sunday night, What's Eating America? The voter suppression issue is airing again on MSNBC. Please look for it. We'll make sure, Vicki, we're going to promote that, right? Oh, you'll find out about it if you follow me. Other things that we have going on, a lot of stuff on the charitable front. Please check out our resources and partners page on andrewzimmern.com, where you can learn more about our charitable endeavors, give to our partners, but we're raising lots of money for lots of really great causes. And it's so important for those of us who can give $1 to give $1. And if you can't give $1, please, please cut and paste something you like or you hear from one of our partners' websites or our website and send it out to your list, right? Be an awareness raiser if you can't be a dollar giver. I happen to believe that awareness raising is even more important than dollar giving, right? So please, please, please do what you can. But anyway, it's now your time. Recipe here is on our website. My friend should be here any moment to tell me whether or not he thinks my remoulade is good. Oh no, I did mention that, sorry. Go right ahead, continue, your time. I have nothing but love for you people and your amazing questions.
So they're asking, what's your #1 attribute that helped carry throughout your culinary journey?
#1 attribute, I was a really hard worker. I showed up early and I stayed late. And I paid attention, I asked questions, and I asked for help. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not of weakness. As a chef, when I'm in a kitchen and someone is just like, yeah, got it, yeah, got it, yeah, got it, yeah, got it, something's wrong. I mean, I'm talking about young cooks, right, coming up. If I have another experienced culinarian who's been working for 25 years in the business and we're roasting chickens, he can, yeah, got it to me all he wants because he understands. When I was coming up, I asked a lot of questions and I asked for help. and I showed up early and I stayed late, and it worked out for me.
How long will the remoulade stay in the fridge?
Easily stay delicious for 2 or 3 days. Easily. After a couple of days, sauces like this, they don't spoil right away. I mean, from a spoilage standpoint, this will last 4 or 5 days, but it will go flat. Right now, it's like super, super bright. I mean, you can taste all 15 ingredients in there in harmony. I mean, you can almost taste this and pick out all the different ingredients. After a while, it kind of goes together. What I do with extra remoulade, because there's a lot of it, right? I'll serve it on salads, I'll use it in all kinds of things. But then when I have the last cup or two, I take a chicken, cut it up, where you can buy chicken pieces, and I take the leftover remoulade and I put it in the chicken in a Ziploc bag, and I use it as a marinade. For any of you that have ever used mayonnaise on bread to make a grilled cheese, and you get that real tight finish on it when it browns, the egg and all the other things in here, when they marinate something, the flavors will penetrate, but it creates a gorgeous look on grilled or broiled chicken, pork, or seafood. So when it gets to the end and it's kind of flat, I use the last cup or two as a marinade.
They're asking what your favorite water is.
My favorite water?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, New York City tap water. Is there anything better? That's what I grew up on. In the bottled standpoint, I'm a sparkling water person, and I like big bubbles like Pellegrino and Topo Chico, but I also like Badois, which is a great sparkling water. I'm addicted to the LaCroix plain. Not the flavored ones, their plain one has a really good bubble to it.
What are the resources you use to continue learning?
Oh, what a great question. I'm a voracious reader. I read every food magazine, website, collect cookbooks, constantly talking to chefs, website cruiser. I eat something in a restaurant, I go into the kitchen, I ask them about it. The moment you stop being teachable in life, not just in food, you might as well just hang it up. I mean, nail yourself in your own coffin. If remaining teachable and staying curious is vital to long-term success.
What is one dish you simply can't live without?
One dish that I saw, moule mariniere. I love mussels, my favorite dish in the whole world. Mussels in general. I mean, with black bean sauce, mariniere, escabeche. I love mussels. I could eat mussels every single day of the week. Hey, JP! Maybe he's gone. Would one of you check and see if our guest is standing outside the restaurant? Outside the office. Hold on. Yeah, he is outside.
So, could you use this for pasta sauce?
Cold pasta, yes. Delicious on cold pasta. With proteins or not. Delicious on grilled grilled, it's vegetable season, right? Take 4 or 5 different vegetables, grill them, let them cool a little bit, drizzle this on there. Fantastic. Corn. Take corn, steam it, cool it, cut it off the cob, mix it with tomatoes and scallions, and drizzle this on there, and you got a home run.
If someone wrote a biography about you, what would the title be?
What a great questions today are fantastic. If you wrote your biography, what would the title be? Andrew Zimmern, a man of voracious appetites.
If you were a salad, what kind of dressing would you have?
If I was a salad, I would literally be, there's a chef in New York, a friend of mine named Justin Smiley, fantastic chef. At his restaurant in New York, he has a anchovy vinaigrette that is, he doesn't call it a Caesar, but that's really what it is. That might be my most favorite salad dressing ever. And he did a version of it on Instagram, and I immediately texted him and said, "Is that the salad dressing I love?" And in typical chef fashion, he said, "Sort of," meaning there were a couple ingredients that weren't in there that are in the one. I still can't pry it out of him. But if you're in New York, Upland, his restaurant, is absolutely out of control.
How long can you go without checking your phone?
30, 45 seconds, a minute. Here's the deal. I am one of those people, I love being connected. I love it. Maybe because, look, the iPhone's only 12 years old, right? So, growing up, I grew up, reading Hardy Boys books, and we had 4 TV stations, 5, including PBS, in New York when I was growing up. I remember when remote controls were new. We had a Zenith, and it was like click. I mean, it was like you had to use a thumb muscle to depress that thing, and there was volume up and down and channel change. There was 4 buttons on this remote control that looked like this big metal shoebox. I like being connected. I like being able to reach into my pocket and find out what's going on with the world, or connect with a human being everywhere that I am.
What's your favorite fish?
My favorite fish? Ooh, so many. Probably most of the percanids, the perch and snapper varietals I'm really into. Our special guest has arrived, and we're going to let him. Do you need to let in your special guest?
Soon.
Okay. But in a minute, we're going to get to our special guest. I don't want to blow it just yet. Continue.
What did you eat for lunch?
What did I eat for lunch? We did a demo for a fundraiser for a food rescue organization on whose board I sit, Love and Spoonfuls in Massachusetts. And I ate some of that, which was pasta with a mix of greens from the garden. It was fantastic.
And we're posting about it tomorrow.
And we're posting about it tomorrow, says Vicky.
What's your go-to drink during the day?
Go-to drink during the day: sparkling water, coffee, and what else? Yeah, sparkling water and coffee.
If you could trade places with any other person for a week, famous or not, living or dead, real or fictional, who would it be?
Oh my God. Well, there's a couple people who I've just, historical figures who I just absolutely am somewhat obsessed with. Teddy Roosevelt being one of them. Young Teddy. Same with Winston Churchill, young Winston. The years that Teddy Roosevelt, when he was the first police commissioner in New York City, when they finally needed one to end the corruption, I'd love to be young Teddy Roosevelt for a year.
They're saying, what is your go-to golf disc?
My go-to, it depends the course that I'm playing and what I like. Some of my go-to discs in my bag, my Innova Sidewinder, there's a RX Crow. It's a very, very powdery, rubbery disc that is an incredible mid-range. My Rock, all of my different AVRs that I putt with. I'm an Innova disc person. Longer distances, my Daedalus, my Katana, my Wraith, my Nate Sexton Firebird, I'm very into. I have about 400 discs in my garage. My bag only has room for 25, and I still probably only play 4 or 5 of them on the whole, but sometimes one disc just, for whatever reason, you disconnect from it, and you just have to find something else in your bag to play with. So
someone has extra cucumbers from their garden.
Yep.
And they're wondering what they can do with them.
Make soup. You'll get rid of a lot of them. I have a cucumber yogurt soup on my website. The other thing that you can do is cut them in half, core them out with a melon baller, and then use a thin knife to really get in there. Stuff them with a pork dumpling stuffing mixture and steam them. and make a dipping sauce. Stuffed steamed cucumbers are delicious. The other thing that you can do is you can make cucumber salads. We have a bunch of different ones on our website that are all great that'll use up a lot of them.
They're asking if you have a dish that you do not like to cook.
A dish I do not like to cook. I don't know. Raw cookie dough, walnuts. Those are the only things that I don't like to eat. So those are the only things that I guess I don't like to cook. When I cook, let me tell you what I like to cook, and then we'll bring our special guest in. What I like to cook are the things that actually require cooking. So while I do make dishes like this at home, I love working on a soup or a stew for 4 or 5 hours. I love making things like pozole, or making where you actually are really cooking something that's multi-staged. Classic old school dishes are a lot of fun to make because there's so many pieces to them. So that's kind of fun for me. Let me bring in my special guest who knows a thing or two about French food.
Hi everyone.
That's my friend Gavin Kaysen.
How are ya?
This is a fork.
I'm starving. I haven't eaten lunch yet.
Well, this is good, and there's no. This is sans gluten.
So should I just feel like, should I channel my inner Tom Colicchio?
I want you to bring it all. I mean, imagine this is the cooking competition show of your dreams.
Okay.
It's called like Gavin's Reformatory for Wayward Cooks.
That's not. You're not good at marketing. But listen. So I have a question.
But I'm the contestant. It's your show. You're the one that came up with the crappy name.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Remoulade
is a French.
Oui.
This is Creole remoulade.
Would I insult you by putting a little lemon on there pre-taste?
No.
You saw that, right?
The lemon, but here's what Gavin knows, because he's a savvy. He's not just a great chef and restaurateur and civic leader. He is a fantastic restaurateur. The lemon is there as an invitation. If it had already had lemon on it, I wouldn't have put the lemon there for you.
It's delicious.
It is delicious. Got a lot of bite. It's yummy. Crab, traditional. It's the Jamie Shannon Yugalicious style, Commander's Palace style from his years there 25 years ago.
You made a remoulade.
I did, because you want to know why? I put it on everything. Yeah, no, absolutely. It'll be there in a tub in there. But what's great about it, I told people that last cup becomes a marinade for chicken. Let it sit there for a day and then throw it on the grill.
Okay. I'm gonna call.
Sound good? Go ahead. Do you need to take that?
No.
Okay.
I don't know who it is.
Yep, that's fine. You can go ahead and eat this. Anyway, as always, AZ Cooks Live every Thursday, 5 o'clock Central, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. We're going to try to, we're going to mix it up. We're going to bring some guests in. We're going to do some cool things with them. We're going to let them cook for me. Do I have to pack my...
I won't do that.
Do I have to pack my knives and go? Or do I get to cook again?
You get to live to cook another day.
Oh, 15! Yeah.
One day.
One day.
I'm not saying like
One day.
Listen, if you tune in next Thursday, he'll be here. I can't tell you what's going to happen in 2 Thursdays from now. Okay? Pass with one test. I mean, that's it.
You've done Top Chef a bunch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Not as a contestant.
As a judge,
or chef testing, but as a judge.
Yeah.
And you've done the whole finals thing and all the rest of that kind of stuff. Most people, and we just crowned a new winner, Melissa King, just won a couple weeks ago. Superb, amazing chef.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good. I actually, 2 of the 3 finalists I thought were the ones that would be there at the end. Both Brian and Melissa, but I mean, superb year. Gregory Gourdet, a lot of really great chefs were there this year. Your favorite story behind the scenes of any year of
Easy.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. So it's the first year I'm judging Top Chef.
Yep.
And it was the Bocuse episode in Vegas.
Right.
At Alex Strada's place. Judges are myself, Tracy Desjardins, Thomas Keller, Danielle Ballou, amongst many others. I'm the one to present the quickfire challenge.
Right.
Okay? What do you wear? You have to, what's your makeup? All this BS.
Well, for you, a lot of makeup.
Well, at least they have to fix my hair. But whatever. You don't get that insight.
It's getting a little long.
No. This is what's called.
I'm gonna be.
It's jealousy, and just deal with it. So
I'm
listen,
gonna
let
be
me
honest,
finish.
Lulu.
So I get on set. I'm standing here.
Never invite your friends onto your IG live. By the way.
I'm standing here. I'm on set. The lights on me. I look great.
Yep.
Padma walks out with 6-inch heels and buries me. She knows how short I am. I cooked for her for like 6 months in New York. I mean, I knew her personally as a friend. And Padma walks out in these heels and she looks
And
down.
she's tall to begin with.
And she's tall to begin with, and she looks down and she's like, "Hey Gavin, how are you?" I'm like, "Fuck."
Yes, I know.
That's all I got.
It's how I feel.
And can I tell you something? I didn't get invited back for like 4 years. I think they thought like maybe he'll hit a growth spurt. When he comes back, it won't look so awkward.
It's how I feel around the skinny chefs that always take their shirts off on stuff. I'm just like,
I'll spare you that for right now. It's Thursday. I didn't work out today. I'm a little sore.
Okay, all right. We will see you here next Thursday. If you live in the Twin Cities, you have the opportunity to visit Gavin's restaurants. I salute you. Gavin, so you finish all that. We will see you next Thursday at 5 o'clock Central right here.
Peace out.